J.L. Collins's The Simple Path to Wealth really cuts through all the complicated financial advice out there with just a few brutally simple ideas. So today, we're going to dig into the very first wall he says you have to tear down, the prison of debt. Let's break down how he sees it, and more importantly, how he says you can break out.
Right off the bat, you can see Collins does not mince words. He frames debt not as some tool or a necessary evil, but as an active, hostile force working against you. This isn't about managing your debt. It's about understanding that it's the enemy of your financial freedom.
So, a destroyer, what does he actually mean by that? Well, Collins uses this really powerful metaphor to explain the true cost of owing money to someone. He calls it the debt prison.
And this right here is the fundamental mindset shift you have to make. For Collins, carrying debt is not a normal state of being. It is a five-alarm fire. It's an emergency that demands your immediate, focused attention. The goal isn't to get comfortable with debt, it's to escape it, period.
And he makes it super clear that this prison, it's not just about the numbers. It's psychological. It's that constant stress of having to make payments, the shame some people feel, and maybe most importantly, the way it just handcuffs your life choices. You know, you can't take that lower-paying job you'd actually love or move to a new city if you're chained to these massive payments every month.
And this is how that prison actually works. Every single dollar you pay in interest is a dollar that could have been invested, working for you. Debt literally throws the whole process of building wealth into reverse. It forces you to work harder just to make banks richer, all while taking away your freedom to live a life that you actually value.
Okay, I know what you're thinking, but what about good debt? You know, the kind we're always told is a smart move, like a mortgage or a student loan. Well, Collins has a pretty strong opinion on that too.
So on the left, you've got what pretty much all of us have been taught our whole lives. But on the right, that's Collins' stark reality. He argues that even so-called good debt is still a chain. It just complicates your financial life and, crucially, it limits your freedom. The more you owe anyone, the less control you have over your own life.
Now, he's not saying you can never buy a house. His warning is very specific. Don't let a mortgage trap you into buying way more house than you actually need, because that just inflates all your other costs. And he sees the huge student loan burden on young people as just a tragic obstacle to getting a good financial start. So for him, the goal is always the same. Prioritize the incredible simplicity and freedom that comes from owing nothing to anyone.
So if debt really is a prison, how in the world do you break out? Well, Collins gives you a clear, no-nonsense escape plan. It's all about a disciplined strategy.
This is it. It's a strategy often called the debt avalanche. And it's not about emotional wins or feeling good about paying off a small debt first. Nope, this is pure math. High-interest debt is the most toxic, the most expensive kind. By attacking that one first with every spare dollar you have, you save the most money in the long run. It's the fastest way out. Once that top one is gone, you take all that money and just roll it right onto the next one in line.
And here are the specific numbers he gives you to guide your attack. Anything over 5% interest? That's a financial emergency. Get rid of it, now. Between 3 and 5%? Yeah, it's still a priority, but maybe not a full-blown drop-everything crisis. But, and this is interesting, if your interest rate is super low, like under 3%, Collins suggests you might actually be better off investing your extra money since the potential returns from the market are probably going to be higher than the interest you're paying.
Look, eliminating debt isn't just about getting your balance down to zero. That's just the first, absolutely critical step toward the real goal, achieving true financial freedom.
And there it is, the entire philosophy on one slide. This is the simple path. Just notice how avoid debt is a core pillar of the whole thing. You can't really invest your surplus if that money's constantly being eaten up by interest payments. They're basically mutually exclusive goals.
And this whole journey leads to what is probably the most famous concept from the entire book, FU money. I know, it's a deliberately provocative term, but it's for a really profound idea. It's that nest egg, that pot of money that's big enough to cover your living expenses forever. It's your escape hatch from the rat race.
And that's the whole point, right? This isn't about buying yachts or fancy cars. It's about having agency over your own life. It's the power to say no to a boss you don't respect, or no to a job that's burning you out, or really any situation that just doesn't feel right. That is true freedom. And you simply can't build it while you're busy sending your money to the bank.
So the final takeaway from this part of Collins' work isn't just a bunch of financial rules. It's really a challenge. He's asking a question.
If you weren't chained to a paycheck by debt, if you truly had the freedom to choose, what would you do? What would your life look like? That is the real prize.